Countdown to kickoff is continuing, and we're heading out to Charlotte with Jonathan Jones of the Charlotte Observer. Let's talk about your Panthers for a moment. They went 6-10 last year. A year before that, they went 2-14. So this is a vastly improving team. Cam Newton had an unbelievable season last year, rushing for a ton of yardage, 706 to be exact. Passed for over 4,000 yards to go along with 21 touchdowns in the air, not to mention I believe it was 14 on the ground. What is the outlook for this guy this season? Do you think that he will still impress with those numbers, or do you think he'll have somewhat of a down year?
I don't necessarily see what most would refer to as a sophomore slump coming up for Cam. Cam's an incredible athlete, first and foremost, a great quarterback, and you have a guy, an offensive coordinator in Rod Chudzinski, who really knows what he's doing, and he knows the weapons that he has, and he knows Cam's capabilities. And so, like most second-year quarterbacks who started in their first year, what I believe you're going to see is greater efficiency out of Cam passing. You're going to see his QB rating go up by a few percentage points, and he's also going to cut down on the interceptions. That's been a big point of emphasis for him, as it is most quarterbacks, obviously, in training camp. But he had a good deal of them last year. I think it was something like 21 passing touchdowns, as you said, to I think 17 interceptions. Where the numbers will go down, though, is the rushing touchdowns. He had 14 last year, and a lot of those were goal line situations. But the Panthers brought in Mike Tolbert from San Diego, and he's a bowling ball, and you'd be foolish not to use your bowling ball at the goal line rather than your superstar quarterback. And so that's where you're going to see the numbers going down.
Also known as the dancing machine, Mike Tolbert, as he was in San Diego. Steve Smith, let's talk about him for a moment. He's 33 years old, clearly their best receiver, their top-notch receiver, their number one. He was seen on the sideline on crutches. It appears that he has a foot infection. What else is the latest that you could give us on him?
Yeah, I mean, that is certainly the latest, is that he had a foot infection there. It's swollen right now, and they're treating it with antibiotics, and they're going to wait and see if the swelling goes down. Head coach Ron Rivera told me earlier today that they're probably going to wait and see Friday if he'll go to walkthroughs. He likely will not practice tomorrow. Yes, Smith, you're right. You're right to bring up the age. He's 33, but he also called for nearly 1,400 yards last year. Several-time Pro Bowler, but he has had a couple of injuries, but that's nothing new with Steve Smith in training camp. He is very prone to these minor injuries, and he practices hard, and that's the thing I think that a lot of people get confused about, is that they think that Steve Smith is just kind of taking a few days off. Now, he gets a day off just like Jordan Gross, just like several other veterans, but Rivera is quick to say that he practices harder than just about anyone else on the team, even the guys who are trying to make that first cut. And so when you have a guy who's practicing very hard, who is 33 years old, it's not a surprise that he's going to get a few scrapes and has to rehab a little longer. Panthers know what kind of commodity he is, and so they're okay with him taking a day off, especially if it's something like a foot infection.
I promise I'm going to follow up with some questions about the defense of the Panthers, but the offense just intrigues me a ton. Let me ask you about the receivers. Aside from Steve Smith, you got Brandon LaFell, David Geddes, who's coming off a ACL tear from last minicamp, and Louis Murphy, the man from Oakland. Now, a piece from the New York Times, I wanted to pull this out. The threesome of third-year pros rounding out the receiving depth is badly flawed. Brandon LaFell is too methodical. David Geddes is trying to bounce back from a serious knee injury, and 2010 third-round pick Armonte Edwards still seems about as raw as he was coming out of Appalachian State. Jonathan Jones, your take on this?
Well, yeah, I mean, I certainly think that they're right to point out Armonte Edwards, who I don't even know if he's going to make the team. David Geddes is in the mix, along with Louis Murphy, along with Kealoha Pilares out of Hawaii, along with Syria Juratutu for that number 3 wide receiver position. Number 2 is certainly going to be Brandon LaFell, and I think LaFell, they're right to point out that he's raw. They didn't actually say that he's raw, but he's methodical, and there are still some things that he's learning, and he's benefiting from being on the other side of Steve Smith. The issue that you're going to have is you're not going to get a top-notch wide receiver to come in there and play with Steve Smith, who is going to demand the ball, who wants his 1,300 receiving yards, while also playing with a backfield that is so incredible, like DeAngelo Williams, Jonathan Stewart, and Mike Tolbert, along with Cam Newton, who's going to get his rushing yards as well. And so if you want to get a top-notch number 2 wide receiver, a guy who could be the number 1 wide receiver on any other team, but he's the number 2 wide receiver on the Panthers, go ahead and forget about it, because he's not going to get the receptions. He's not going to get the yardage that Steve Smith's going to get, and that yardage is also going to be taken up on the ground by a team that has more rushing yards than any other team in the NFL since 2008. And so I like a guy like Brandon LaFell, who is a project, who is going to come along, but he is still a very solid number 2 wide receiver. It's not like this guy wouldn't be starting as a number 2 wide receiver on other teams. It's just that he's not. When you look at the rest of the offense and you look at the superstars, you almost wish, oh, maybe they had someone else. But it makes sense, I think, if you give him some time. When Steve Smith retires, which is sooner rather than later, Brandon LaFell, I believe, will be ready to take up that number 1 position.
All right, defensive questions, as I promised. Jon Beason coming off a hamstring injury, or he has a hamstring injury now. He's coming off an Achilles injury. And also Luke Kuechly, the rookie out of Boston College. Let's talk about him. Do you think that he will start at weak side linebacker for Carolina?
Absolutely. I mean, he certainly will against the Jets on Sunday, and it's to be determined for the first game of the season against Tampa Bay. Beason is not coming along in terms of healing as Carolina wants him to. They thought that the injury was a little less serious. He's just not moving along as well. He's still not even in pads, so there's no semblance of Jon Beason returning at any time soon. Kuechly is certainly a fantastic talent. One scout told me that outside of the 2 quarterbacks, he was absolutely the best pick of the draft.
Wow.
And so, and you've seen it in this training camp where at Boston College, he was obviously a great tackler with the career ACC record in tackles in just 3 years. He didn't even need his senior season. But he's been making interceptions almost every day in camp, and not just against Jimmy Clausen, but Cam Newton and Derek Anderson. But he's only 20 years old, and so in a franchise that's been riddled with linebacking injuries, and there's been so much hope riding on linebackers in the 17, 18-year history of this organization, that's a lot to keep on to a 20-year-old is saying, hey, you know, Beason and Davis, they're old news. And I know you're not saying that, but some people in Charlotte are saying that, you know, let's just go ahead and give it up. Let's put this on the back of Luke Kuechly. I'm not entirely sure he's ready for that. Will he be someday? Absolutely. But, you know, he's still a 20-year-old weak side linebacker who's trying to find his way. And so the Panthers really want to get Beason and Davis healthy again, and they're going to take their time with him. There's no sense in trotting them out there in the 3rd preseason game of the season just so that they can get some playing time. They know what these guys can do. It's much like the Steve Smith situation.
So let me close it out with this. We usually do this with every single guest we have. Quick nugget firstly before I get to the final over-under and your take on that. At least 5 new teams each year have reached the playoffs since 1996. The Panthers were the number 5 ranked scoring offense in the NFL last year. So let me ask you this. The over-under, according to Vegas, is set at 7.5 wins for Carolina. What do you think?
I think over. 7.5. If it were 8.5, I'd be more willing to push, but I'm going to go over for the 7.5.
Jonathan Jones of the Charlotte Observer, thank you very much for the time. Where can everybody find your stuff online?
Online at charlotteobserver.com. They like the Panthers on there, so it's not hard to find. You can also find me on Twitter at jjones9.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Jonathan. We really appreciate it.
All right. Thank you, guys.